My name is Claire Bennett, and for 7 years I thought my mother-in-law simply didn't like me. I was wrong. She didn't want to argue with me. She wanted something far worse. She wanted proof that I had never existed in her family at all. I realized it one Sunday afternoon while standing in her living room, staring at a wall filled with family. Photographs. Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, anniversaries. I remembered every one of those. Days because I had been there. I had laughed in those rooms, cooked in that kitchen, and stood beside my husband in every picture. Yet somehow, I wasn't in a single frame. It wasn't an accident. It was a pattern. And what my father-in-law uncovered a few weeks later changed our family forever. I married James 7 years ago. His mother, Patricia, welcomed me with warm hugs, homemade dinners, and kind words. She called me daughter from the very first day. I believed I'd gained a second family. But after our wedding, small things started happening. Every holiday, Patricia insisted on organizing the official family photo. Somehow, just before the picture was taken, she'd ask me to grab dessert, help in the kitchen, or hold someone's coat. I never questioned it. I thought I was simply being helpful. Months later, I'd visit her house and see those framed photos hanging proudly on the walls. James, his father Robert, his sister, the cousins, even neighbors who happened to stop by. Everyone was there, except me. The first time I noticed, I convinced myself it was coincidence. The second time, I laughed it off. By the 10th time, I stopped laughing. The worst part wasn't missing from the pictures. It was what those pictures slowly did to me. Every visit made me feel less like family and more like a guest. I stopped sitting beside James during dinners. I spoke less. I smiled less. Without realizing it, I had accepted the role Patricia had quietly created for me. I never told James because it sounded ridiculous. How do you tell your husband that his mother is slowly erasing you from the family's history? I was afraid he'd think I was imagining things. Everything changed one Saturday when Robert asked us to help clean the attic. While moving dusty boxes, he found several old photo albums he hadn't seen in decades. We gathered around the dining table as he opened them. Inside were photographs from long before Patricia entered the family. James as a little boy, Christmas mornings, beach vacations, and standing beside Robert. In almost every picture was a woman I had never seen before. Robert looked at us quietly and said, "This was my first wife, Margaret." James froze. Robert explained that Margaret had passed away when James was only 3. After he married Patricia, he trusted her with the house, the albums, and every family memory. Looking through the pages, we noticed something strange. Margaret appeared in every early photo, until suddenly she disappeared. Entire pages had been replaced. Frames had been changed. It looked as if she had never been part of the family. Robert whispered something I'll never forget. "She did it to Margaret, and then she did it to you." James immediately opened his phone and showed his father our holiday photos. On his camera, I stood beside him in every picture. On Patricia's walls, I was gone. For the first time, Robert saw both versions of the same memories. That evening, James confronted his mother alone. Hours later, he came home exhausted. Patricia had finally admitted the truth. She confessed she'd always been terrified of losing her place in the family. First, she couldn't bear seeing reminders of Robert's first wife. Years later, she couldn't bear watching her son build a new life with me. Instead of dealing with her fear, she simply erased the women she believed threatened her place. 2 weeks later, Patricia came to our house carrying every family album she'd ever kept. She apologized through tears and admitted that fear had turned her into someone she no longer recognized. Together, we spent the afternoon restoring old photographs, placing Margaret back where she belonged and adding new pictures of our own family. Today, every wall in Patricia's home tells the truth. Margaret is there. I'm there. And every new family photo includes everyone who belongs. Because I learned something I'll never forget. The cruelest way to hurt someone isn't always through shouting or insults. Sometimes, it's pretending they were never there at all.